Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're stepping into the fascinating, slightly dusty and sometimes wonderfully chaotic world of Hercule Poirot.
That's right.
We're diving deep into the early chapters of Agatha Christie's Mrs. McGinty's Dead.
And our mission here is to really unpack how one of fiction's most famous detectives even starts to untangle a crime that, well, on the surface looks pretty open and shut.
Yeah, it does initially.
We're going to follow Poirot's first steps, dig into the surprising details he pulls out from the source material you've shared, and meet the distinctly Christie-esque cast of characters he encounters right at the beginning.
Absolutely. And just to be clear for everyone listening, we're working solely from excerpts of the novel itself. It's like we're shadowing Poirot himself as he gets the case and makes his very first moves in this quiet English village.
So let's unpack this. Where do we find Poirot at the start?
Okay, so we find Poirot in London, having just had a truly excellent dinner. He's feeling that post-meal glow, dabbing his magnificent mustaches, but almost immediately we hit the core issue: boredom.
Complete and utter ennui. Retirement is not suiting him. Not at all.
No.
He's reflecting on this desperate need for, mental stimulation. He even, Mrs. Hastings calls him Sir Cher Hastings, even affectionately the stooge he needs for admiration.
Right. He can't just sit around admiring his own little gray cells, can he? He needs an audience, that human touch.
Exactly.
And he's really quite, curmudgeonly about the modern world. He dislikes the looseness of its plots, the lack of logical continuity he sees everywhere, even in cinema.
Uh-huh. It's all too messy for him.
He just yearns for order and method and finds the crude brutality of the times, frankly, boring.
He feels out of tune. He's got all this time on his hands, and multiple delicious meals just aren't filling the void, And into this slightly melancholy, highly particular world walks Superintendent Spence.
And this is not a standard police call, is it? Spence is from the provinces, Colchester CID, and he's coming to Poirot after a man, James Bentley, has already been convicted of murder.
And sentenced to death. That's what makes it so compelling from the jump. Spence has this deep-seated, uncomfortable feeling, this gut instinct that Bentley is innocent.
Yeah.
He says, and it's quite powerful, "I haven't seen an innocent man hanged. I don't want to see it happen, not in his country."
And he can't really articulate why Bentley seems innocent to him in any concrete evidence-based way, can he?
No, not really. It's purely based on the man's demeanor during the investigation and trial. Nervous, scared stiff, sometimes cringing, sometimes belligerent. Spence just says, "It didn't seem like a murderer to me."
Like he has a type, and Bentley doesn't fit.
Exactly. He feels like he knows murderers, and Bentley didn't fit the mold he expected. It's just a feeling.
So Spence gives him the quick facts of the crime. Mrs. McGinty, an old charwoman, killed in her home in Broadhinny village. Blow to the head.
Looked like robbery drawers pulled out a small cache of hidden money, God, 30 pounds, I think it was.
But the key detail: no forced entry. It points towards someone she knew, or the lodger.
Right. James Bentley. Found guilty based on circumstantial stuff, blood and hair on his cuff, apparently matched the victim.
And the fact he changed his story early on about when he found the body? Classic sign of guilt, usually.
Usually, yes. But Spence isn't convinced.
So why does the great Hercule Poirot actually take on this case? He's retired, enjoying his food.
Well, he lists his reasons. Too much leisure, clearly. That's number one.
Definitely.
Spence has definitely intrigued him. It's a challenge to the little gray cells. You can almost see them perk up.
Oh, yeah.
He also says he has a regard for Spence, respects his integrity, and wants to prevent him from having that future regret, that nagging doubt.
That's quite decent of him, actually.
It is. And then, of course, there's the principle of the thing, the fundamental belief that an innocent man must not hang.
But classic Poirot, always keeping options open.
Always. He immediately adds, but supposing that after all he did kill her, even taking the case, he reserves judgment. He's not just taking Spence's word for it.
Okay, so Poirot decides his strategy. He's not going in quietly, is he?
Not at all. His plan is to go to Broadhinny, stay at a local guest house, and very deliberately announce his identity as Hercule Poirot investigating the case.
What's the goal there? Just to stir the pot?
Exactly. Stir the pot, see who reacts, who gets nervous, who might reveal something under the pressure of his famous presence.
Which lands him immediately at Longmeadows, the Summerhays guest house. And according to the source, oh dear, Poirot suffers.
Oh, does he ever? He's paying 7 guineas a week for this absolute chaos.
7 guineas? For what?
For dust everywhere, broken sofa springs, a genuinely fierce dog named Claude, cat dramas, milk bottles under fun.
And the couple running it, Maureen and Johnny Summerhays, constantly yelling at each other.
Yeah, it's pure pandemonium. He notes, decidedly, I suffer. It's a place where windows won't shut, doors won't stay closed, cold gusts blow through.
Not exactly the height of comfort.
He even finds himself picking scattered beans off the floor. It's the absolute antithesis of his ordered, meticulous world.
So he meets Maureen Summerhays first. What's she like?
She's described as charming, but totally overwhelmed. She came from India, apparently had lots of servants, and running this place is clearly a nightmare for her.
Understandable.
She says, God, how I missed that woman, talking about Mrs. McGinty, the victim. The practical loss of a cleaner hits hard.
And her reaction when Poirot reveals who he is?
Oh, it's brilliant. She laughs, thinks he's pulling her leg, a practical joker, says he looks like a hairdresser.
A hairdresser. Oh, Poirot must have loved that.
I imagine his mustache is bristled. The reality only sinks in later. She calls the murder a big thrill initially, the excitement in a dull village.
But then admits it was a downright bit of bad luck because they lost the reliable cleaner. It just highlights how ordinary people get tangled up in these things.
Absolutely. Then there's her husband, Johnny Summerhays. Temperamental, struggling with market gardening.
He's strangely proud of his family history, though, isn't he? And the old house.
Yes, even showing off a painting of an ancestor who went down with his ship. Meanwhile, Poirot overhears them talking about him. Johnny calls him peculiar, wonders if Poirot is from home perm, perhaps.
Or pickles. Ouch. Poor Poirot.
Indeed. His next stop is Mrs. Birch, Mrs. McGinty's niece.
Right, the closest relative.
She's a plump, healthy woman in a perfectly neat, tidy house. Very different from Longmeadows.
And her take on Bentley.
Oh, she's absolutely convinced he's guilty. Never did like the looks of him, she says, wandering about muttering. No doubts there.
What about her husband, Joe Birch?
He's small, shrewd, and Poirot notes he's notably nervous, almost too eager to help, which immediately makes Poirot's antenna twitch.
A potential suspect.
Could be. Poirot wonders. Maybe Joe was after the money Mrs. McGinty had saved, faked an alibi, knows something about the weapon. He's on the list, let's say.
So through these early visits, Poirot starts piecing together a picture of the victim, Mrs. McGinty herself. What does he learn?
Pretty ordinary, really. Uneducated, tidy, saved her money, worked for multiple families in the village. Kept to herself, mostly.
Like cats hated dogs.
Right. Interested in film stars, voted conservative. As Poirot noted to Skunce earlier, definitely not a mystery woman on the surface, just a typical village charwoman.
He also makes these quick calls to other key places, doesn't he? The cottage, neighbors.
Yeah, just gathering background. The cottage where Mrs. McGinty lived is now occupied by a messy family, nothing left of her there. The neighbor, Mrs. Elliot, who found the body, is very dramatic about it all. Remember seeing Bentley shuffling his feet near the cottage that day?
Shuffling feet. Not exactly damning evidence.
No. And Mrs. Sweeteman at the post office knew Mrs. McGinty casually, thinks Bentley's guilt is plausible, but wisely says you never know, which is often true in these villages.
Okay, here's where things start to get really interesting, isn't it? As Poirot goes through Mrs. McGinty's few belongings with her niece.
Yes, some mundane things suddenly become highly significant. First, this detail from the postmistress pops back up. Mrs. McGinty, who hardly ever wrote letters, bought a bottle of ink just 2 days before she died, on the Monday.
Why would she do that if she never writes?
Exactly. A seemingly irrelevant detail, but it screams out to Poirot, why buy ink if you don't write?
Then the newspapers.
Right. He finds her shoes were wrapped in sections of the Sunday Companion and News of the World from November 19th, the Sunday right before her death, on Wednesday the 22nd.
Okay, using old papers for wrapping seems normal.
But on the middle page of the Sunday Companion, a piece is cut out. A neat rectangular hole, larger than the other random clippings she kept about flying saucers or Mother Shipton.
Not just random wrapping then. She cut something specific out.
Precisely. Poirot figures out the missing piece was from a feature called Women Victims of Bygone Tragedies.
Oh, one of those sensational Sunday paper things.
Exactly. It profiled famous or infamous female figures from past crimes with blurred photos and brief stories. The names mentioned are Eva Kane.
The other woman in a poisoning case, right? Craig case.
That's the one. Then Janice Cortland, the tragic wife whose husband was killed by a friend. Lily Gamble, a tragic child who killed her aunt with a meat chopper when she was young.
Grim.
And Vera Blake, involved with criminals, supposedly went abroad to the Dominions.
And this is the aha moment, isn't it?
Absolutely. The ordinary charwoman wasn't just reading true crime for fun. She read that article, and she must have recognized someone in one of those blurry photographs.
Someone local.
Mm,
From seeing them in one of the houses she claimed.
that's the inference. She recognized a face, connected it to someone living in Broadhinny, and then she bought the ink.
To write about it, maybe to the newspaper.
That seems the most likely reason. And we later get confirmation from the journalist who wrote the piece, Pamela Horsfall. She actually remembers getting a letter from a Mrs. McGinty.
No way.
Yes, misaddressed to Broadway instead of the newspaper office, but it arrived eventually. Mrs. McGinty asked about payment for information because she recognized someone in the article. Horsfall admits the piece was mostly romantic farrago, inaccuracies galore.
But the key thing is the recognition.
The recognition, the letter, right before Mrs. McGinty died. Apparently, Mrs. McGinty told the paper she'd snooped around a bit and seen an old photograph in one of the houses she cleaned, which confirmed the likeness.
So the pieces click into place.
Huh.
Mrs. McGinty recognized someone potentially dangerous from their past. She was about to expose them or at least inquire about it.
And she was killed very soon after. One of these tragic women, or perhaps someone closely connected to them, is likely living right here in Broadhinny, desperate to keep their past hidden.
Suddenly, James Bentley looks a lot less guilty.
Or at least there's a much stronger alternative motive now.
So the game changes completely. Poirot starts his rounds at the houses where Mrs. McGinty worked. His stated reason is investigating for Bentley's appeal, but really,
He's hunting. He's looking for reactions, clues, anything connecting these households to that article and those hidden pasts.
first up, Dr. Rendell.
Seems genial enough, enjoys crime stories, confirms Mrs. McGinty worked there, knew Bentley slightly. He dismisses the Sunday Companion article as hooey, standard stuff.
But his wife.
Ah, yes. Shala Rendell. When she comes in, Poirot notes she seems distinctly nervous and apprehensive. That gets flagged.
Interesting. Then Mrs. Weatherby and her daughter Deirdre Henderson.
Mrs. Weatherby is an invalid, very easily upset by crime talk. Her daughter, Deirdre, seems awkward, tired-looking. Didn't much like Mrs. McGinty because she talked a lot.
Relatable, perhaps.
Maybe. Deirdre also mentions her unhappy home life, hating her stepfather. Poirot observes their house is cluttered with old things, perhaps suggesting a reluctance to let go of the past. Or just clutter.
Hard to tell sometimes.
Yeah.
What about Laburnum's?
There he finds Mrs. Upward, who's energetic. Despite being in a wheelchair, she absolutely dotes on her son, Robin Upward, who's a playwright.
Robin Upward.
Yeah. Robin seems confident, seems to rely on his mother's money. The author, Mrs. Oliver, is also staying there, finding collaboration difficult. Poirot sizes up Mrs. Upward as intelligent, ruthless, and selfish. Quite the character assessment.
He doesn't miss much. And finally, Mrs. Carpenter.
Yes, formerly Mrs. Selkirk. Young, looks expensive, fair-haired, striking blue eyes, married to a rich, politically ambitious man, Guy Carpenter.
And she's suspicious from the get-go.
Very. She initially claims not to know Mrs. McGinty, even though the charwoman definitely worked for her when she was Mrs. Selkirk, before she remarried. That's a straight-up lie.
Big red flag.
Huge. She gets flustered when Sunday papers are mentioned, calls Mrs. McGinty a frightful liar, then quickly tries to backtrack, saying, oh, she was just a gossip.
And there was something about her eyesight.
Yes. Poirot notices she seems short-sighted but isn't wearing glasses. Another detail filed away. Lots of red flags around Mrs. Carpenter.
Okay, let's pause and gather our thoughts here. Like Poirot and Spence do. They get clearer copies of the original photos from the article. Eva Kane, Janice Cortland, Lily Gamble, Vera Blake.
Right. They look at them properly. Vera Blake is deemed unlikely to be hiding out in Broadhinny. Eva Kane took the name Hope after the trial. Janice Cortland is described ominously as a nasty bit of goods, and Lily Gamble, the child killer.
The crucial point being, even if the article said they left the country years ago, they could easily have come back, right?
Yeah.
Under new names.
Absolutely. And one of them, or someone closely connected, is almost certainly in Broadhinny. That's Poirot's working theory.
So they start matching possible candidates based on age and, well, gut feeling again, perhaps.
A bit, yes. Could Mrs. Upward, given her age, be Eva Kane? Spence doubts it because she's in a chair with arthritis, but Poirot, ever cautious, wonders if that could be faked.
Unlikely, but possible with Poirot.
Then you have the younger women, around 30, who could fit the age profile of Lily Gamble, or possibly Eva Kane's daughter if she had one.
That brings in Deirdre Henderson, Mrs. Rendell, and Mrs. Carpenter.
And Poirot's observations start creating tentative connections. Mrs. Rendell's nervous, fair-haired. Could she fit Lily Gamble?
Maybe.
Mrs. Carpenter is also fair-haired, and that detail about the short-sightedness and no glasses, that fits the description of Lily Gamble, who wore thick glasses in the original photo.
Ah, so she might be avoiding glasses to hide her identity.
Plausible. And her story, poor supposed war widow marrying a rich, politically ambitious guy, gives her a massive motive to hide a violent past like Lily Gamble's.
What about Deirdre Henderson?
She seems to have a known, albeit unhappy, local background, making her seem less likely to be Lily Gamble, who presumably came from elsewhere.
So the motive becomes crystal clear. Respectability.
Utterly. The terrifying possibility of a scandalous past being revealed, either for yourself or perhaps to protect someone you love, like a child you've hidden, or a spouse whose career would be absolutely ruined by the connection.
And then things escalate dramatically.
Yes. Someone tries to push Poirot in front of a train at Kilchester Station.
Whoa. Okay, so this isn't just about covering up the past anymore. Someone is actively trying to stop him.
Exactly. This confirms they are absolutely on the right track. Someone knows he's getting close, and they want the investigation stopped. Permanently.
Do they have any leads on who might have been at the station?
The police check alibis for that night. Both Guy Carpenter, Mrs. Carpenter's husband, and Dr. Rendell could potentially have been in the area. It doesn't narrow it down much, but it keeps them in the frame.
As Poirot continues to poke around, Mrs. Oliver, the crime novelist staying with the Upwards, offers her own unique insights.
Yes, her woman's intuition, as she calls it, often illogical, but sometimes she stumbles onto things.
What'd she observe?
She visits Deirdre Henderson, finds her quiet, just hoping Bentley gets off, remembers meeting him once with her dog. Mrs. Oliver sort of grandly decides Deirdre is not Deirdre Henderson, meaning not the killer type in her view.
Very scientific.
Quite. She also encounters Robin Upward and Eve Carpenter, who are rather bizarrely, and maybe tastelessly, joking about murder scenarios involve the people in the village.
Gallows humor or something more?
Hard to say. Then there's a party at Long Meadows, the Summerhays chaotic guest house.
Oh, I bet that was fun.
Probably loud. Maureen Summerhays, after a few drinks, talks about being adopted and how knowing her real mother didn't want her always hurt. Again, this theme of hidden parentage or identity keeps popping up.
Interesting thread.
The murder is discussed, naturally. Robin Upward has an alibi for the night Mrs. McGinty died he was broadcasting. Sheila Rendell, the doctor's nervous wife, remembers trying to visit Mrs. Upward that night but couldn't make her hear at the door.
And Poirot uses this party, doesn't he?
He does. He brings out the 4 photographs from the Sunday Companion article again, shows them around.
What are the reactions this time?
Varied. Mrs. Upward seems to recognize one, points to the Lily Gamble photo, but then claims not to remember where she saw it. Poirot thinks she's lying.
Trying to point suspicion elsewhere.
Possibly. It's ambiguous. But then, a critical physical clue surfaces back at Long Meadows.
The murder weapon.
Not quite yet identified, but Poirot spots a heavy brass sugar hammer amidst the general clutter. Maureen says it came from a bring and buy sale held by the Weatherbys, Deirdre's family.
Ah, the Weatherbys again.
Poirot examines it, finds faint stains, takes it to Kilchester, and bang, it's confirmed as the murder weapon. Human blood.
So the weapon used to kill Mrs. McGinty came from the Weatherby house. That points strongly towards Deirdre or someone in that household.
It certainly seems to, though there's a slight confusion about when it went to the sale. Deirdre said a harvest festival sale back in September. Maureen thought it was a Christmas sale in December.
Could just be confusion
Or deliberate misdirection. And given the state of Long Meadows, as Poirot notes, things could easily be moved, lost, borrowed, or returned without anyone noticing. Still, it's a direct link.
Meanwhile, Poirot gets an inside agent, doesn't he?
Yes, Maud Williams, a young woman from Bentley's former office who believes in his innocence, offers to help. Poirot cleverly arranges for her to take a domestic job at the Weatherby's house.
How does he manage that with the fussy Mrs. Weatherby?
He tells Mrs. Weatherby Maud is adequate but undesirable, playing on Mrs. Weatherby's snobbery and fussiness to ensure she actually gets hired. Maud becomes his eyes and ears inside that house.
Clever. Does Poirot talk to Bentley again?
He does. Bentley's still frustratingly vague, still seems more bewildered than anything. He's later described quite oddly as being aggrieved because he is not going to be hanged once he's freed.
What a strange reaction.
Isn't it? But he does remember a couple of potentially key things this time. Miss McGinty did mention the Sunday Companion article to him. She talked about somebody connected to it living locally who had not so much to be proud of. Bentley thought she meant Mrs. Upward, but he couldn't really say why. Just a feeling he got.
Interesting. Anything else?
He remembers Mrs. McGinty really disliked Mrs. Selkirk Carpenter, calling her jumped up, and he thought the Weatherby's was an unhappy house. He also recalls meeting Deirdre Henderson once when he helped her with her dog, and thought she was rather good-looking. A little hint of something there, maybe?
Okay, things are getting complex, lots of threads. Then comes another piece of witness testimony.
Yes, from Edna, the girl who works at the post office. She eventually tells Johnny Summerhays, who then takes her to Superintendent Spence, something crucial.
What did she see?
She saw a fair-haired woman go into Laburnum's, Mrs. Upward's house, the night Mrs. Upward died, between 8:30 and 9 p.m.
A fair-haired woman. And crucially.
It wasn't Deirdre Henderson. Edna knows Deirdre well.
So that narrows it down significantly for that night's events at Mrs. Upward's. It points towards either Mrs. Carpenter or Mrs. Rendell.
Exactly, the two other main fair-haired suspects.
And while all this is happening, Maud, the inside agent at the Weatherby's, makes a huge discovery.
Two discoveries, actually. First, she sees someone she thinks may be a man, maybe a woman in trousers, trying to break into Mrs. Weatherby's window using a ladder one night.
Trying to retrieve something.
Oh.
Or plant something.
Good question. But the truly explosive information comes from an actor friend of Mrs. Oliver's, Michael West. He reveals the identity of Evelyn Hope.
Eva Kane's alias.
Yes, but not just her alias. Evelyn Hope, the name Eva Kane took, is actually Robin Upward.
What? Robin? The playwright?
Yes. He's Eva Kane's son, adopted and raised by Mrs. Upward, who was a friend of Eva's. Robin isn't Mrs. Upward's biological son at all.
So Mrs. Upward wasn't Eva Kane hiding out.
No, she was the adoptive mother. And Robin is Evelyn Hope, the son of the infamous murderer Craig and his mistress Eva Kane.
Okay, wait a minute. This changes everything we thought.
Completely rewrites the scenario.
The Sunday Companion article must have just assumed Evelyn Hope, the child Eva Kane had abroad, was a girl because Evelyn can be a girl's name.
Precisely. But it can be a man's name, too. Eva Kane left England pregnant, gave birth abroad, and presumably asked her friend, the elderly Mrs. Upward, to adopt the boy and raise him as her own son, Robin Upward, to give him a respectable life away from the scandal.
Wow, okay, so now, the motives? They snap into focus, don't they? Why did Robin kill Mrs. McGinty?
Mrs. McGinty must have seen a photograph Robin kept, probably one of himself as a child, with his real mother, Eva Kane. Maybe it was even labeled My Mother or something.
And Mrs. McGinty, knowing Mrs. Upward,
assumed it was a photo of Mrs. Upward when she was young. But after reading the Sunday Companion article, she recognized Eva Kane from the photo in the paper, connected her to the photo Robin had, realized who his mother really was, and probably spoke to Robin about it.
showing him the article maybe, still thinking the connection was to Mrs. Upward somehow.
Possibly. Or maybe she directly asked him about Eva Kane. Either way, Robin had lied to his adoptive mother, Mrs. Upward, about his real mother's identity, claiming she was a ballet dancer or something innocuous.
And Mrs. Upward had those strong views on heredity and bad blood.
Exactly. If she found out her beloved adopted son, Robin, was actually the offspring of a murderer and his mistress, she would likely disown him, cut off his funding. Mrs. McGinty's recognition threatened to expose this critical lie.
So Robin killed Mrs. McGinty to silence her and fake the robbery.
That seems to fit perfectly. He panicked and killed her to protect his secret and his inheritance.
And then why did he kill his adoptive mother, Mrs. Upward? She seemed devoted to him.
Because she, too, eventually saw the photograph Robin kept of Eva Kane. She also read the Sunday Companion, recognized Eva Kane, and finally put two and two together about Robin's true parentage.
Ah, so she found out the truth herself.
Yes. But she wasn't necessarily going to disown him immediately. Instead, she started playing detective, trying to track down other people connected to the past, maybe to understand the hereditary risk or context. She started calling the women she suspected might be connected to the cases mentioned in the paper, Mrs. Carpenter, Mrs. Rendell, maybe even Deirdre Henderson, perhaps thinking one of them was the child, not realizing it was Robin.
And Robin overheard these calls.
Poirot deduces he must have. Robin overheard his adoptive mother making these calls, asking suspicious questions, realized she knew the truth, or was getting dangerously close to exposing his identity as Evelyn Hope, son of Eva Kane. He couldn't risk her revealing it.
So he killed her too. To keep his secret safe, ensure his inheritance, and maintain his identity as Robin Upward, playwright.
Precisely. He silenced her before she could blow his world apart.
The photograph trail is absolutely key here, isn't it?
Crucial. Robin kept the photo. Mrs. McGinty saw it. Mrs. Upward saw it and recognized Eva Kane. Robin then tried to plant it at the Weatherby's house. That's who Maud saw with the ladder, trying to frame Deirdre or implicate that household, but failed because the windows were locked.
So then he planted it where Poirot would find it.
Yes, in the drawer at Longmeadows, just before Poirot found it. And the clincher. The fact it had no fingerprints proved it was planted. Someone handling their own precious photo would leave prints. Robin, planting it carefully, wiped it clean.
Brilliant deduction. What about the attack on Poirot at this station? Was that Robin too?
Interestingly, no. That remains a minor, almost humorous puzzle even for Poirot. He ultimately dismisses it as likely just an accidental shove in the platform crowd by a market woman carrying baskets, not a deliberate attempt by the killer.
So just a red herring in the end.
Seems so. It's the one piece that doesn't neatly fit Robin's calculated actions. He wasn't trying to kill Poirot then.
And the climax. How does Poirot nail him?
He confronts Robin directly. Uses the brass sugar hammer, the murder weapon, quite dramatically as he lays out the entire case step by step, explaining the motives, the photographs, the lies.
And Robin.
Robin completely breaks down, screams, confesses, pathetically claiming it was all an accident, he lost his head, and trying to blame it on his bad blood, the inherited traits from his infamous parents. No remorse, just self-pity.
Wow. So bringing it all together from the sources, the killer wasn't the meek lodger. It wasn't one of the suspected women directly.
No, it was Robin Upward, the seemingly charming playwright, living a complete lie. He was the son of one of the infamous tragic women, Eva Kane, desperate to prevent his hidden parentage from ever coming out.
In solving this, Poirot also, as often happens, uncovered other hidden pasts simmering beneath the surface in Broadhinny.
Oh, yes. Mrs. Carpenter is confirmed to be Lily Gamble, the child killer. She'd completely fabricated her respectable war widow past to hide her origins, which were actually less dramatic, taxi dancer maybe, not murderer's daughter, and marry her rich, politically ambitious husband. She comes to Poirot for help, but he refuses, stating he works for Bentley.
She must have been terrified.
And the Weatherbys. Their whole unhappy house facade turns out to be mainly about simple greed and controlling Deirdre's inheritance from her father. The invalidism, the unhappiness, partly real, partly exaggerated for control.
And even Dr. Rendell isn't entirely in the clear, is he?
No. The investigation stirs up old rumors and anonymous letters about the suspicious death of his first wife years ago. The police, thanks to Spence and Poirot digging around, will now be looking into that further, so more secrets potentially exposed.
Goodness. Broadhinny was not such a quiet village after all. And what about poor James Bentley, the original suspect?
He's freed, of course, but immediately turns surly and resentful. Poirot notes he's aggrieved because he is not going to be hanged. A truly peculiar reaction to being saved from the gallows.
Maybe he liked the attention, who knows? But Poirot, never one to be idle, has a final project in mind.
Yes. With too much time on his hands, as he puts it, he decides his next task is to arrange the marriage between the awkward James Bentley and the equally awkward but quietly drawn to him Deirdre Henderson.
He sees a potential match there between those two.
Apparently so. Despite their shared awkwardness, he sees some compatibility and decides matchmaking will be a suitable occupation for his formidable mind now that the murder is solved.
Only Poirot.
Only Poirot. It really does make you think, doesn't it? This whole deep dive into Broadhinny shows how many seemingly ordinary people you might pass on the street could be living lives profoundly shaped or even defined by these hidden, scandalous, or tragic pasts.
And just how much danger can lurk beneath the surface of everyday respectability in any small town, really. Just waiting for someone like Mrs. McGinty to stumble onto a forgotten secret in an old photograph.
Absolutely. And let's give a final nod to Mrs. Oliver, her woman's intuition, even when it was, frankly, barking up completely the wrong tree initially about who was who.
Like thinking Deirdre was the killer type.
Right. But her constant questions, her slightly chaotic observations, they did keep stirring things up, didn't they? And ultimately nudged things along, even if accidentally. It wasn't always logical, but it played its part in fleshing out the truth.
A fascinating case, peeling back the layers of village life. Thanks for walking us through Poirot's initial steps.
A pleasure. It shows how even the most complex cases can start from the smallest, most overlooked details.